Just finished Attack on Titan Volume 4. I'm Cody Lee, owner of Black Cat Books and author of Cruel and Beautiful and Eye of the Dragon. And I really had to stop myself from continuing reading, moving on to Volume 5 so I could go ahead and make this video. I was out having dinner and I just was reading it, and then it just ended and I was just no, it was so good. So unbelievably good. Volume 4 encompasses the end of the Battle of Trost, in which Eren takes on his Titan form, sort of grabs the boulder and sort of plugs the hole and sort of saves the day, essentially. A Titan saves us all from the invasion of a Titan. Pretty cool stuff. And the bit I read at the end was more akin to a flashback sequence, which I think happened at the beginning of the anime, the first season of the anime. So they just sort of in the anime they just did the flashback sequences first and then did the Battle of Trost, which I think actually makes a whole lot of sense. Not that either thing got in the way, either thing got in the way of the plot as a whole, but I do think it made more sense in the anime to sort of establish the characters early on and then start killing them off. I think in the anime you get to know Marco Boat a little bit more before he gets axed off. You see those scenes with him interacting with Jean and telling him he would be a good leader, earlier on, not in the thick of battle or whatever. Not in a flashback sequence like in the manga. It's different. It's the major difference I've seen between the anime and the manga, and I suppose which one you prefer is really up to personal preference, because I really don't think it really affects all that much of the plot, explaining things before, changing the order of how the story is told. I don't really think so. I think the manga is a bit more clear on the whole bit about what happened to Eren's dad, because I remember watching the anime and being wait, what the fuck? Wall Maria was destroyed, and yet Eren's dad, is somehow missing. Why is he considered missing? Why is he not just considered dead? Are they not going to explain that? Volume 4 actually covers my all-time favorite scene from the anime, in which Eren is unable to control the Titan form, and he's essentially dreaming about living an idyllic life with his parents and Mikasa as a kid, before the fall of Wall Maria. It's easier to stay inside. It's easier to just sit there and not do anything. It's easier to just to do nothing and not have dreams and ambitions or what have you. And then Armin is able to reach out to him and tell him this isn't what you actually want. And Eren as immediately manages to get control of himself, gain control of the Titan, and reassert himself. His dream, his goal for this manga is that he wants to rid the world of the Titans so that mankind can seize its rightful place as the rulers of the earth, because we deserve it because we exist. That's the kind of philosophy that Attack on Titan wants to impart on us. There's nothing wrong with seizing this kind of thing, going for that kind of having that kind of ambition. Essentially, Eren is determined to sort of radically alter society, change the world for the better of his people. So this gets him control over the Titan, and this allows him the power he needs to do what needs to be done and cover the whole. And the rest of this, I think, is just, let me see. I'm scrolling through it. I've read this over a couple of days, so it's kind of difficult to remember exactly what happens early on. Yeah, he goes ahead and plugs the hole in pretty early in the volume, and then the rest of it is going over the fallout, doing a lot of character building, doing a lot of building up future characters, Sasha, Potato Girl, Reiner, John, Krista, Amir, all of these people. and sort of building up their strengths and weaknesses and a little bit of their backgrounds, just a little bit. They don't really give us a whole lot, like especially from but we do like see a lot more from them than we have up until this point. And I said in the past that like I consider Attack on Titan to be one of my favorite pieces of media in recent years, and I do think a major part of that is just how fleshed out and realized a lot of these characters are. All right, you have characters like Sasha, who would in any other show just be like a joke character, like the hungry girl who just eats everything in sight. Yet she has like in a lot of this has a lot of like really funny, interesting, engaging interactions with like the people around her, like Mikasa, Krista, Amir, even. People love making fun of her for good reason. It really does make the entire thing feel like they've established a sense of camaraderie, and like they really do like have a lot of interpersonal relationships that really tie into one another, even if you don't understand like the whole picture because you've only just met these people. And this is the segment that really goes into like how other people views Eren's dreams, particularly Jean, who aggressively believes that what Eren's doing is ridiculous. That like you can't beat the Titans, and the best thing to do is just like retreat behind the wall and live life as best as you can. That's his goal in this. That's Jean's stated goal. It's like join the military police and live a cushy military police life with like all the perks and benefits of living inside the wall, like never actually having to see a Titan. Like that's kind of what this Volume 4 seems like building up. Like seems like the second half of Volume 4, like it almost seems like Jean's the protagonist of this part of the story, like almost, in which like it's sort of like building up like his character, his goals, and eventually like the weird resolution to it. Like in which like in the end, because of like the death of his comrade who pushed him in a certain direction, Marco, he decides in the end that instead of joining the military police, that he needs to join the Survey Corps because he's needed there. So you have this character who's like initially antagonistic towards Eren, wants to bang Mikasa. Can't say I blame him. Mikasa's best girl. Who just has this really multi-layered, just complex character and personality that we haven't really seen a whole lot from this point. I think a lot of people like really hate Jean, but reading the manga, having seen the anime a couple of times, like he's shaping up to be like a really well-rounded, compelling character, one that I really, really enjoy seeing. I just really like his sort of brand of, being like sort of the unwilling hero in this sort of situation, like someone who's not like entirely sure. Not really what he wants. Not like Eren is, who is like 100% like dead set on a very, very particular, very specific goal. Like Jean, wants to join the military police. Like really believes he wants to do it, but in the end changes his mind because of like the situation that's out of his control. Like almost losing trust was like kind of a big wake up call for him. Like losing so many people was kind of a big deal. It's very it's very, very good stuff. And of course, like the volume ends with Eren meeting the Survey Corps, meeting Captain Levi and Commander Erwin, and sort of establishing like the next go-to goal, the goal for the series, at least at this point, figuring out what's in the fucking basement. Now, at this stage in time, I haven't seen past season 2 of the anime, and I haven't seen any spoilers online. Like, even though I've had girlfriends who are huge fans who've, like, told me about this, I have no idea what's actually in the basement, because, like, nobody actually told me. And, the narrative I've always heard from, like, fans of the series is that, like, the series gets a lot worse after the basement. That's what I've heard. Just like now, like you're hearing a lot of people like bitching about the ending. I'm not sure how true that is. I really don't think that's the case. I think like people just didn't understand like where they were going with it or whatever. Because I have a hard time believing they would drop the ball like that. At such a critical juncture of the story. Again, I haven't like gotten there yet, but that's just like my impressions going by like what I've seen coming from other people. Let's see here. Titans. Exposition. I think that's all I really wanted to talk about, honestly. But yeah, this is mostly like kind of an exposition volume. It's mostly just going over like background and like setting and characterization. Like it really expands like the struggles that like everyday people have to go through in the world of Attack on Titan. Like how you have to like how like producers are treated and things like that. Like what happens if you don't pass like the military exam, things like that. If you don't get to join the military, how the gear works, how their training is handled. It's all really interesting stuff. Annie is kind of like built up here, who will be an important character later. Reiner and Berto as well. Let's see here. Yeah, I probably should just like next time I review Attack on Titan, I'm gonna have to like just be cycling through the manga because like there's so much to talk about, like the beautiful artwork, like individual character moments, Reiner and conversing with like Eren and Armin about what they've been through, like the whole like fight training thing that builds up Annie, that makes her interesting, like Eren like immediately picking up on her moves, and like little lore bits, like how the ultra, like a little bit about how like ultra hard steel is produced, like even though like it's not really they don't really specify what metals they use. It's really good stuff. Like they did a great job like building up the setting, the characters, and like the general themes of the story very early on, very effectively. And honestly, like reading this, like I can't emphasize this enough. This probably is like my all-time favorite manga at this point. Now that I've like actually read it, now that I've actually taken the time to like look through it, like I just adore this. I really do. Like everything about it, like the just the setting and just I just really enjoy this. So yeah, Volume 5 is next. I'm not sure when I'll get around to reading it, but I'm sure I will soon, and I hope I enjoy it nearly as much as this. I cannot wait to read more.